Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, coming to you live from Lagos. A reminder of our major stories tonight. Fireworks light up the skies as New Zealand, Australia and other countries usher in 2017 in grand style. President Muhammadu Buhari asked Nigerians to unite and join the federal government to fight terrorism and corruption and turn the economy around. In continuation of our 2016 review tonight, we turn our attention to the health sector. And twin blasts kill at least 28 people in the Iraqi capital, Baghdad. Islamic State claims responsibility. For more on our top stories and others, please visit our website, channelstv.com, and on youtube.com/channelsweb. You can also watch us on the go on your mobile device. Just log on to m.channelstv.com or download the Channels TV app for Android, iOS, and Windows phones from their respective stores. And having the Channels TV and Channels 24 app will give you access to news and updates. You can also have the Eyewitness feature, and you can also be part of the news. Just install the app, then tap and swipe to reveal the Eyewitness menu and follow the instructions to share those pictures, videos, or just news of happenings around you, especially how you're ushering in 2017. And as 2016 ends, residents in the nation's capital are assessing the current administration and listing their expectations for the new year. While many expect that life will get better after the economic challenges seen this year, others believe that the table will turn if the government ups its game in 2017. Our correspondent, Ajuri Ngelale, has this report.
The view from above is wide, long, and replete with confidence and a big picture focus. The view from below is limited, uncertain, and anxious. The government and the people. Two views of one reality. This was evident on a visit to a local printing press.
In the throes of an economic recession, Nigerians across the country have created livelihoods for themselves almost out of nothing and with very little external support. A trend they say must change in 2017.
This anxious shop owner details the revenue loss he suffers as a result of the foreign exchange crisis in the country.
For a common man, we don't understand what he's doing. And that's why you see ordinarily everybody's complaining that the government is bad, the government is bad, the government is bad, because we are not being communicated on what the government is doing.
Administration officials assert that because foundation setting and economic diversification measures are not as immediately gratifying as publicized road commissioning and ribbon cuttings, President Muhammadu Buhari would be greatly appreciated if government action was rather evaluated by calamity avoided, leakages stopped, and preparedness for tomorrow.
The Nigerian people agreed with him, especially the masses. Otherwise, there are no protest when he increased the fuel prices. There was no protest because they believed in his integrity quotient. Now, this is not the president that will tell me, oh, Sido Kechuku, how much can you get from Voice of Nigeria to help me to build an upstairs in Kano?
With a big picture focus on today's plans and tomorrow's projections, the empathy for current human suffering can be lost. The tragedy of missing out on the small details who matter most. Ajuri Ngelale, Channels Television News.
We continue our series of end-of-year reports, and this time we're looking at the health sector. Doctors and health workers say demands which they tabled before the federal government were not met in 2016. Some of their grouses include bad working conditions, uneven salary scale, to inadequate training of personnel. But it's not all tales of woe. Some successes were recorded, such as the containment of infectious diseases, improvement in primary health care, just to mention a few. Our health correspondent, Mary Alale Yusuf, has more.
2016 in the health sector appeared to pass calmly, devoid of rancor. Medical doctors embarked on one strike throughout the year, while their counterparts in the health sector, such as pharmacists and radiographers, had only a warning strike. But the health workers say a lot was brewing underneath the surface. Common complaints against the government of underfunding, unpaid salaries, outdated and under-maintained equipment were rife, as well as interprofessional disaffection.
Largely, we've had a situation where government enters into agreements and then fails to comply with them.
In spite of these complaints, they explain that they had decided to give the new administration time to address the problems.
We'll be looking at 14 tertiary hospitals in the first phase. So if we can get things going, but for all of them, we said basic, there must be light and water.
But one of the institutions which did go on a long drawn-out industrial action was the Federal Medical Center Owerri in Imo State, South Nigeria, which was embroiled in a struggle against the medical director of the institution, Dr. Angela Uwakwem, whom they accused of maladministration and misappropriation of funds. She was investigated by a panel of inquiry and returned amidst protests.
All of you are part owners, you are all stakeholders in this place. And we follow government instructions and directives. I have no desire of my own.
They should actually go back and see those allegations and look at them. If she is worth coming back, then we will know. But I don't think she is free to come back.
The Nigeria Center for Disease Control recorded the outbreak of Lassa fever, a viral hemorrhagic disease, in 29 states. There were 874 suspected cases and 107 deaths. 2 new cases of the wild polio virus, which caused paralysis in the victims, emerged in Borno State, dashing Nigeria's hopes of being certified polio-free by the World Health Organization in 2017. The Federal Ministry of Health and Development Partners, however, moved quickly to contain the outbreak with massive polio vaccination in Borno and neighboring states.
The camps, the minorities, and let's keep at it as if it were going on actively.
There were other positives in the sector.
In the last 2 to 3 months, there's been a renewed focus on some of the key challenges of primary health care.
Talk about the purported withdrawal of donor funds from global bodies caused some concern.
What the Western world has always been, we've been funding you as a country for so long. What part of it do you want to pick up? With respect to a particular global fund where they were beginning to suspect that funds were misappropriated in terms of getting to the end user what really needs to be, and at that time it was halted so that they could check and make sure that the sheets were well audited and the funding gets to those who need it.
5 parastatals in the sector, including the Primary Healthcare Development Agency, the Health Insurance Scheme, and the National Institute for Medical Research, got new appointments, giving hope that progress will be made in the areas of research and disease prevention and control. Mary Alale Yusuf, Channels Television News.
Joining us from our Abuja studios to take a further look at the health sector is the former president of the Nigerian Medical Association, Dr. Prosper Igweli. Thank you so much for joining us on the news at 10.
Thank you, viewers.
Now let's begin with this issue of welfare. Do you think the allocation of 1% of consolidated revenue to the health sector can help with the demands of workers?
I think this particular issue falls short of expectation, and I think the results will be very minimal to affect any development in the health sector. I think the federal government and the public sector should inject more money into health so that the common person at the grassroots will benefit very much from any development in the healthcare system in the country.
And when you're talking about the grassroots, we're looking at primary health care, for instance, and there's been achievements made so far. What do you think can be done to sustain these efforts by the government?
The government need to have some real input into the primary health care, which is actually the basic foundation for health care in any country. Preventive medicine is very much acclaimed all over the world as the best course to take to increase the people's awareness of health and then to decrease morbidity and mortality among the rural dwellers. And I think the 3 tiers of government need to work together to ensure that the common person gets the needed medical help. The medical health is accessible and affordable, and that the National Health Act should be put into action as soon as possible so that National Health Insurance Scheme should be embraced by the majority of the Nigerians.
When you're talking about health, when do you see Nigeria being certified polio-free?
I'm a scientist, and actually, because of the way Nigeria health system is structured, it will take a long time. I do not think Nigeria should even get there in the next 2 or 3 years.
Why?
Our way of life, the environmental factors that are being the issues that are preventing us from getting the best medical care to the rural dwellers. As long as we have the new area of disease burden coming up, and then our way of lives not being controlled, the disease spread will continue to, the disease control will continue to evade the national public health system.
Thank you so much. The former president of the Nigerian Medical Association, Dr. Prosper Ibueli, thank you so much for joining us on the News at 10.
Get breaking news.
Airline operators and their passengers are feeling the impact of the Harmattan haze, which made it almost impossible for flights to take off or land in different parts of the country. In Benin City, the Edo State capital, no one has been able to fly since Sunday, and this has also affected operators of car hire services who told Channels Television that it has impacted negatively on their businesses.
The Harmattan haze has engulfed Benin City since Sunday, reducing visibility in the city. The hardest hit by the effects of the weather in the area is the airport in Benin City, the capital of Edo State, where no flight has landed or taken off since Sunday. The once busy airport is a shadow of its former self. Few passengers around who came to check if it's now safe to fly are upset about the handling of the situation by some of the airline operators.
Please, I'm not even in the mood. It's not nice. What is the time? 1:50. This flight was supposed to be for 1:59. This is past 12. There's no notification, and you're telling me stories. Who do I speak to? Let me talk to somebody.
An airport operations officer, however, has this word of comfort for the passengers.
So we appeal to all our passengers, our esteemed customers. With time, it will go, and they will resume back fully operations again.
One of the passengers says they are now left with no option but to travel by road.
I came with my uncle to catch a flight, but unfortunately the weather condition is very bad, and so I don't think the flight will be landing today, so we have to go by road now.
Also affected by the haze are the airport car hire services. For them, the haze came too early and has affected their business.
This is where we feed our family. This is where this period is supposed to be our season. You see, this period every year, car hires, people are traveling from state to state, traveling home, visiting their people. This is the time we're supposed to make money, but we are just here and doing nothing.
Though the situation is beyond human control, airline passengers are hopeful that the Nigerian Meteorological Services will announce that it's safe to fly soon from the city.
When the news at 10 returns, Nigeria's equity market closes the year 6.47% lower despite last-minute gains. That's on Business News. Join us again.